Hello and welcome. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's Friday the 13th. It's time to wander around in the forest by ourselves in the dark, preferably in our underwear, because it's Friday the 13th. And it's time to take a look at the last bits of gaming news that might have dropped on our laps since the last time we spoke that won't get me into trouble, like, saying things about Gygax or Critical Role did. But whatever. Thankfully, there's not a lot going on in the normal world of D&D news. We have two announcements of products that are being reissued as 5e. One, we have the Midnight RPG. This is a system that was originally released in D&D 3.5 at the early OGL worlds. It's D&D, but what if the bad guys won? And then what happens after? So, it's like Middle Earth. What if Sauron won Middle Earth afterward? And then what happens to all the adventurers and stuff and afterwards? And then, we venturing to try and save the world now that the bad guys have won and, make it a name for yourself and keep everybody safe. So Midnight the RPG. I remember a couple of people telling me it was a really good system and a lot of great ideas. I never got a chance to play it. But now they're re-releasing it for 5.0 D&D. Also, we have Ruins of Symborium, Symbaroum, for D&D 5th edition. So this is another system that was originally made for something else and now is being made for D&D. This was not a 3.5 game. This was a game that came out last year, the year before, and now it's being converted to 5e. It's almost June 2022, so we've got a year and change until the 50th anniversary, and whatever it is Wizards of the Coast is going to do is now a good time to be releasing stuff for 5e. Yes, it is, or no, it isn't. I don't know, man. I mean, right now it doesn't look like Wizards of the Coast has anything else planned. They've pretty much told us what they have coming up for the rest of the year. But they have thrown us curveballs before and either changed release dates or out and out lied or at the last second go, yoink, look what we released. I mean, they haven't announced another Magic the Gathering setting for 2022, but we should be, I think, expecting at least one. We do know Radiant Citadel's coming out, which is, I guess, Planescape Light. And then, of course, we've got Spelljammer. That's the big announcement, Spelljammer. I love the fact that people are already complaining about Spelljammer, even though it's not out yet. The complaints seem to be, well, is it going to include my favorite races or not? Because if it doesn't include the races I love from original Spelljammer, I'm not going to play. Or just 3 books isn't enough. It should be a system on its own. It's not even out yet. They have not said anything about what they have planned for Spelljammer going forward, other than the fact that they are trying to create a world-agnostic role-playing multiverse. So you would think that the core anchor of that is either going to be Radiant Citadel, because nothing says multiverse like a dimensional nexus, or Spelljammer, because nothing says multiverse like flying around the astral space plane in powered magical ships going from planet to planet. So that said, I'm pretty sure there will be more than 3 products coming out for Spelljammer. So I don't know why people are already upset about the fact that there's only going to be 3, just the 3, the Monster Manual, the World Guide, and the Adventure. You're not going to, then that's it. You're just abandoning it. It should be its own separate system. It shouldn't be D20. Okay, well, let's unpack that. 1, yes, it can be its own system. Spelljammer is a system that just happens to use D&D. You could set it in any other system. I mean, the idea, elves in space, D&D in space, can be used with anything. You could use Star Wars, you could use GURPS, you could use Fate, you could use whatever system you want and just use the ideas from Spelljammer. So, yes, it is a system all its own. And 2, since it seems to be that this is the core for whatever they have planned for the future, they're probably going to release more than 3 products. And since, this close to 2024 and the 50th anniversary, it's really not safe to even try and predict what they're going to do, which gets me back to my original idea of, is it too late for these 2 companies to be releasing 5e product? Or maybe it's the perfect time, because if Wizards of the Coast completely changes things in 2024, then that leaves sort of 5e just sitting out there as we're not using anymore, so go ahead, make shit. Because now we've got 5.5 or 6 or whatever they're going to call it. So it could be a really good idea to be releasing stuff now this close to the anniversary, doomsday, whatever you want to call it, or it could be a really bad idea. And as for the statement, well, it's not going to have my favorite race, so I don't want to play it. It needs to include X, 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 and X. Okay, first, it doesn't need to do anything. It's not your game. It's Wizards of the Coast Hasbro's game. The only thing it needs to do is make Hasbro money. It doesn't need to do anything for you. And if there's a race you want that isn't in the Spelljammer initial 3 books, show me where it says you cannot put that race in your Spelljammer game. What's the most obscure player character race I can think of? Kenku, maybe? What's the rabbit one called? The owl people from Witch Haven? I don't know. Kenku. Kenku's pretty obscure. Weird bipedal bird people who are vaguely based upon mythology from the Asia area, and talk like Skeksis from Dark Crystal. Kenku, I am. Kenku. Shiny, yes. So let's say you buy the book, Spelljammer, and you're like, there's no Kenkus in here. I don't see the write-up for Space Kenkus. I don't want to play. Literally, you can go onto this Kenku. Here are the stats. Let's see. It's outer space. There's an infinite amount of planets. Chances are one of those planets has Kenkus that have evolved on them. So yes, Kenku is in my game. Show me where it says it's not. So really, you can put any monster, any race of the 33 plus player character races into Spelljammer and it'll be fine. So nowhere does it say you can't. So you should not be upset if your favorite race is not going to be included in the core 3 books, because if the core 3 books will be all the Spelljammer stuff that we haven't seen yet, like giant space hamsters. I love how people are like, I want Spelljammer to be serious like it was in the 80s. It's like, do you not remember Spelljammers in the 80s? It had giant space hamsters. There was nothing serious about that. So yeah, that's it about news. What else is going on? People are complaining about Wizards of the Coast not making declarative lore anymore. Of course, Wizards of the Coast made it very clear they're not doing that anymore because they're trying to create a system agnostic system. I love how you people are all like, oh yes, everything Wizards of the Coast is saying was genius. And now you're like, oh yeah, everything Wizards of the Coast is stupid and they have to do what I want to, because otherwise it's not my game and you're changing my game. You need to write the game because this is the way I want you to write it. You need to have declarative lore. You need to have this. You need to have that. You need to do this. Otherwise you don't have the qualifications. And I mean, I can understand, if you're a little upset, but just this whole all or nothing mentality that these diehard wacko Wizards of the Coast fans have, it's like, isn't it almost sort of hypocritical? I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just blowing smoke up my own ring. But Wizards of the Coast gives you what you want. You whine and cry that you want this. Wizards of the Coast goes, fine, shut up, I'll give you this. And then you go, well, no, actually what I wanted was this, and I'm going to whine and cry. So you whine and cried because you didn't like the lore because it was problematic and racist. So they took the lore away. They said, the lore's gone, no more canon. You don't have to follow the books at all. Do whatever you want. It's your game. Use your own brain. There is no lore. We're making D&D world agnostic, so you can do whatever you want. These are, as it was always meant to be, source books. The Forgotten Realms is just one world, but we're not really doing that world anymore. Eberron is just another world, but we're not really doing that world anymore. Greyhawk, well, I'm not even touching that one. Dark Sun, well, yeah, we're probably never going to do Dark Sun again, but that doesn't mean you can't. Show me where it says you can't. So now, after Wizards of the Coast gave you what you wanted and got rid of the lore, now you're saying, oh no, Wizards of the Coast, you need to have declarative lore because otherwise it's not my game. This is what you need to do, Wizards of the Coast, to make me continue to buy your product after I spent a couple years whining and crying to make declarative lore go away. I now want you to bring it back because I can't think for myself. So, I mean, I don't know where to go with these statements, you know? I mean, I wish I could make these up. I wish this shit that comes out of my mouth is shit I made up. But it's all stuff other people have said. I'm just parroting it, and you guys get upset with me. That stuff about Gygax yesterday, that wasn't me. I was just parroting other things people have said about Gygax and sort of like, I'm like, yeah, you know, maybe we do give him too much credit. I don't know. And people are like, you know, or the Critical Role shit. Whenever I badmouth Critical Role, it's like, dude, I'm just paraphrasing stuff other people have said. And now we've got people who are like, I'm upset because Wizards of the Coast lore is problematic. And Wizards of the Coast is like, fine, we'll get rid of the lore. Stop crying. And they got rid of the lore, and now you're saying, oh no, Wizards of the Coast, you need to go back to having declarative lore. Make up your own lore. Literally, they got rid of the lore because you guys are whining and crying, and then they said, you know what? Stop it. Just make shit up. We don't care anymore. You're annoying. Use your own brains. If you don't like our stuff, don't use it. D&D is just a system. Do whatever you want with it. You want Spelljammer? Great. You don't want Spelljammer? We don't care. We're still 55% on the market. And as long as we're 55 to 80% of the market, we literally do not care what you have to say. We spent the past 5 years bending over backwards and changing the game to make you happy, alienating a large portion of the gaming community to make the 5e fans happy, and you're still not happy. So think for yourself. Do whatever you want with the system. You want some obscure race in Spelljammer? Go ahead. You want declarative lore back? Go ahead. Wizards of the Coast does not have to do anything. As long as Hasbro is making money, they don't give a fuck about you. Or me. Well, except I hold stock. And unless you hold stock, really, yeah, they don't give a fuck about you. You're not happy? Stop buying their shit. Stop supporting their shit. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Stop talking about Wizards of the Coast product. I want Wizards of the Coast to make me. Well, all the algorithm says is, oh, you're still talking about Wizards of the Coast. So we're still at 55% to 80% of the sales all over the world. And as long as that is happening, as long as Wizards of the Coast is still controlling 55 to 80% of the market, as long as this is still going into their pocket, they do not care. They stopped caring because they gave you what you wanted and you're still complaining. So now they're like, just shut up. Just fuck you. Do whatever you want. Anything else? Apparently a luminary of D&D has passed away. Trevor of the Black Dahlia murder has passed away, and apparently it was possibly self-inflicted. We're not sure, but the bandmates have said that if you are experiencing any mental and emotional issues and considering self-destruction, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So possibly, maybe Trevor's death was self-inflicted. We don't know. Trevor was a huge D&D fan. He even wrote a band associated D&D adventure called Verminius and Deaths of the Drested RPG box set, which was a Black Dahlia murder sponsored D&D adventure that these guys made. So apparently Trevor was a big D&D fan. So our sympathies goes to Trevor's family, the band Black Dahlia Murder. You know, being a Southern Californian, I'm very familiar with the mystery of the Black Dahlia. I grew up in LA. I've been to the place where they found the Black Dahlia's body, you know, so obviously that is a myth/murder iconic thing of Southern California, Los Angeles. So yeah, obviously I get the band. I like the band. D&D bands are always awesome. And apparently Trevor has passed away, and possibly through self-inflicted harm. So if you've never had a chance to check out the Black Dahlia Murder or their adventure, go check it out. Our sympathy, of course, to the family of Trevor. And as always, if you or anybody you know are experiencing mental and emotional difficulties right now and considering self-harm or anything like that, please do not be afraid to reach out to the National Mental Health Hotline at 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. That's a nice, sad, tragic way to end today's D&D news. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I already told you about the delisting of the product on D&D Beyond. Doesn't look like there's anything going else on this weekend. So if you have any insight to whatever's going on that you want to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be back with our regular scheduled nonsense on Monday. I might do more with the figures later today. If you want to see me paint and I can figure out how to record it, let me know. Till next time, remember, according to Twitter and these idiots, Matt Mercer started the war in the Ukraine. Yeah, I can't make this shit up. I don't know why you guys get mad at me. This is other people's shit. I'm just reporting on it. I hate this camera. Till next time, I'm the GGM. Subscribe, and I will talk to you losers later.